all these clones, we the original.
Yeah, we don't want to do anything to scare your children. That's the last thing we want to do. We don't want to scare anybody.
The tourists come over to chill on the beach, but they don't come over the hill where we sleep. We got nightmares and they got fantasies. No sanity, it's just insanity. My mommy hoping nothing happens to me.
All right. Yeah, we was rolling through all that whole thing. Mm-hmm. So let me turn off my phone. Well, okay, my phone on silent. So let's get into it. Hold on. Boom, 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 boom. So Selina, is this your first podcast?
It would be my second podcast.
Oh, it's your second.
First with a camera, though.
First with a camera.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So we leveling up, even though we little pop down and whatnot. So, how are you supposed to start this podcast, Mr. Kool-Aid? So, you know what it is. It's your boy, Jaylin Willard the Sage, Mr. Cool Fresh, also known as Agent 1, the creator, Alexander A. Dub. That's the old name, but the new name is Lord Jaylin Willard, your favorite Zad, you know? And welcome to another episode of Erryting Kool. So, on the left of me, we have the world's greatest entertainer. You know him. You love him. Introduce yourself, bro.
Ladies and gentlemen, bomb, don't you do it? Well, mother sick boy, it's Kool-Aid hashtag, bang, don't you do it? Woo!
All right. And then we have a special guest. She is like the peach on the beach.
Oh, my God.
The white filling between the Oreo cookie. Miss, please
Selina.
introduce.
Just Selina. Everybody has these big.
Which part am I the Oreo?
Oh, man. So we have Miss Selina Archer, marketing guru. What else you would call yourself?
Writer.
Writer, philanthropist, entrepreneur.
Mm-hmm. Public relations
officer. So you're in trouble. And the media got your name all through the mud. That's the person to come see you, see?
Yeah, we call that Olivia Popenin.
So, Miss Selina, on our show, Erryting Kool, we like to start off every episode with the Bahamian word, phrase, or saying of the day. And today we're going to let you get that part.
I don't know. We said jalopy, but then you didn't look too impressed by jalopy.
I mean, I didn't know
jalopy.
Is jalopy a Bahamian word?
I don't know if it's Bahamian, but we sure made it Bahamian.
Because when I think about jalopy, I think about an old car.
It is.
Okay, so the Bahamian word, phrase, or saying of the day is jalopy.
Yeah,
now,
so we had Yena jalopy off the road, you know?
Yeah, okay, so what...
But that's what we grew up saying, but I'm from an old school. So.
She's from an old school. Don't mind, she look young, you know.
She's from an old school?
The original OGs.
So what the word is again?
Jalopy.
Jalopy?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, yeah, jalopy looking car off the road.
Yeah.
Jalopy.
Yeah.
Jalopy. I mean, I might have just had weird friends, though. So.
I tell you that. So, yeah, for those who are watching, our international crowd, jalopy is something that we say here in the Bahamas. Bomb, don't you do it? The only reason we try to keep our accent the way it is right now because we know we have an international crowd. So I do apologize for those jalopy-looking behemoths that watch it. Stop that.
So today we're going to, dive in with the guru. What episode this is? Episode 13?
13.
This is episode 13 of Erryting Kool. Erryting Kool is a unique brand, Bahamian island-like, but we was like, we need to sit with the guru to see how we can, build our brands, make them better, and, give y'all some tips on how to build a brand and whatnot. So, Selina, let's just dive briefly into your background with, your brand. Is it My Ink?
Yes, my brand is My Ink.
Okay.
and we offer marketing services. We like to say targeted marketing solutions. My kind of first came about when I was having a conversation with an entrepreneur,
Okay.
and we both said, you know, with my experience, I've been in a lot of corporate entities. I've also had a few agencies. I've been in 1 or 2 publications in terms of just the background for me, right? But when we looked at how our entrepreneurs, especially in the Bahamas market, there's not an affordable service for them.
Okay.
So we were having this conversation, and I was thinking of starting out on my own anyway. And I said, you know, why don't we look at how it is that we could help our entrepreneurs with their marketing and their branding and just their needs for PR. And that's really how My Ink started.
My Ink.
Mm-hmm.
So why you chose what the I and K stands for?
Well,
Because I see you have the little dots, and I'm like,
yeah, it's kind of it's twofold for me with My Ink. So I have 2 wonderful children, and so the first
Hold
letters,
up, she got kids.
well, they're practically adults. At this point.
She don't look like she have kids, right? They telling you, 16-year-old. What? Hello.
So those are the first letters of each of their names, but it also represents mine.
okay.
You know, my business.
Okay.
The ink is because there's a lot of creativity and writing that goes along with any marketing plan, whether it's scripting, writing a press release, even coming down to the strategy. You know, I just kind of use the ink. I know we do it on computers now, but I always like that.
I mean, the computer still use ink because you got to print, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, if you want to be friendly to the environment, though.
Yeah.
But no, it was basically based on that.
Okay. Cool. So with My Ink, so since, you know, with all your background, so how long you been like in the marketing and PR field?
Over 20 years now.
Over 20
Over
years.
20 years.
What?
I actually started in 1997.
Uh-huh.
I had a part-time job when I was going to college. Look at your face. Yes, sir. I had a part-time job when I was going to college, and it was Tappy Davis and Associates had hired me to be a secretary at the time. His daughter, Kathy Ingram, actually ran Capital City Marketing out of the same offices. And so day by day, time by time, week by week, Kathy kind of pulled me over more to the marketing side of things, which is basically where I said goodbye to journalism in college and just started working the whole marketing gambit.
That's true. So
I mean,
Oh,
like,
go ahead.
I want, you know, I had some marketing ideas, you know. I saw a golden in the future. 3 birds.
but
So could you be market that place? You know, I mean, after of hearing about it, you know, we want to market.
I think later on what we
3
could do
birds.
is I'd like to kind of get into what some of the clients come to me with, especially entrepreneurs and the types of questions. And so maybe we could work that in.
so
We'll
3
see.
birds in one go.
3 birds in
Yeah,
one go.
You heard it
3
first,
birds.
ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, here in the Bahamas, you can find 3 birds and 1 goat.
So that's dope. So like, you know, I think people are more like brand sensitive now these days with the whole advent of social media. Because everybody is all about my brand, my brand, my brand. I never used to hear this this kind of conversation happening like even like 10, 15 years ago where it's a mass populace always worrying about branding. But for y'all, what do y'all think a brand is?
For me, a brand is something that makes you stand out in your competitive landscape, right? If you look back at, we was talking about we could work this in today, that goat.
See, right now, Ma, because she ain't put her hands up. I wanted to say it first. I wanted to say it first. She just take it out of my mouth. Keep on going.
So back in the day, like, well, even now, I wouldn't even say back in the day. So farmers typically mark their livestock, like the goats.
Like branding them?
The branding them, exactly. And that tells you which animal belongs to which farmer, right? So that's basically what we're looking at with the brand. It's a little bit more complicated when we go into the marketing sense of it, but it is a distinctive element for a company, product, or a service.
Okay, now literally for those guys that are very little in the Bahamas and all around the world, please do not go and brand yourself on the hiney, okay? That's not.
Well, we don't know their
agreeable.
business yet. That
Yeah.
might, when we look at their marketing strategy, that might be something that might work for them.
Brand the goat with the tree bird, okay?
Birds,
Tree
not the birds.
bird and one billy goat.
Okay. Well, so that's interesting how you said actually, branding actually comes from the physical practice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Prisoners too used to get a brand. Slaves used to get a brand.
Yeah. That's how crazy our life revolves around. Like,
Yeah.
And now we paying people.
now you paying
brand
people,
companies.
to support their brand.
Yep. I mean, but it is necessary because, like you said, if you had, let's go with the earthy stuff, so a landscaping company.
Yeah.
So say it again. What is your brand? What is your brand again?
It's something that's going to distinguish you from all of the other products and services in the marketplace,
And what
especially
is-
when it's competitive.
And what is your brand?
My brand, My Ink.
My Ink. And how could we find My Ink?
You can look me up on the web, so it's www.myink242.com.
Say it one more time for them.
myink242.com. And then you can look me up on Facebook. Same thing, My Ink.
I ain't wasting no time, boy. What?
Hold on. I got a next question. What show you on?
Erryting Kool.
Erryting Kool. Oh, what network?
Baba, don't you dare.
Original People Network. Follow us, like, share, comment, subscribe. Yeah.
Remember, guys, today it's all about branding. So even though I'm like making fun about it, I'm trying to make it very interesting for everyone to watch on how they can brand themselves. And I am actually learning something. So keep going.
Okay.
So
all right.
why is a brand so important?
Because again,
Well,
you're looking at how it is that you define yourself in a marketplace. So for someone like Kool-Aid, where there may be Bahamian entertainers as well, that would be competition for you for your endorsement deals. Or I know you don't think you have any competition, right? That's what you're doing.
I mean, I got scared for a minute because I was like, there is someone more hyped than me in Nassau. Like, okay.
No, but again,
That's fine, that's
your
fine.
brand will distinguish you from the others. So let's just say you said we were talking earlier, and you said it's more of international. You do local, but you're family oriented as well, right?
Yeah.
So let's just say you had a Bahamian entertainer that would use a lot of profanity or adult matter,
Yeah.
but they're looking up Bahamian entertainers to go and book. What would set you apart from that person? You would have some content or some indicators that person may be a little bit more for an adult market, where you might be a little bit more family friendly. And that's
Right.
what you want to build your brand around. So the first step, I think, in even just looking at how it is that you build your brand, is knowing what you want your brand to represent about your product or your service or your company.
So that's about.
She add the water to Kool-Aid and just give it a nice mix.
You're mixing this way. So how do you hopping off of that? So so how does someone start building brand identity? How what's the first process you like you say you gotta identify, I guess, the market, and then what's the process after?
Well, you want to identify yourself. I think that is one of the biggest mistakes companies make, especially entrepreneurs and startups. What do you want to be associated with? How do you stand out from your competitive landscape? A lot of people think the logo is that's it. Let's just get the logo together. And yes, that's a part of the process. But how do you know if your logo isn't very similar to somebody else's? Have you done any research behind it? What kind of colors are you going to use? So, for instance, if you're in the banking industry or financial industry, do you really want to use a red, which signifies that you're financially in trouble? Yeah. So, again, what do you want to be? Who are you as a brand? What is your brand voice? What is your brand personality? What is your brand image? All of those things kind of go into you developing what this brand will be.
Wow.
Yeah.
So guys, they're trying to brand yourself. It'll be really, really good for you to take time and please listen, hear it out, see what she is saying, so you can actually start building your brand the way you need it to be. To make it more family orientated, to make it more adult, maybe, or for those branding like shoes, items, and stuff like that, like how to get it really out there internationally.
Because I don't even think people really take in consideration with even color scheme or having a target market. Or
I think I did. Didn't I?
I mean,
No, but it's
Yeah.
all a part of the process. I mean,
Yeah.
even down to the fonts that you use.
Yeah.
You know, in terms of like, what are your consistent fonts? Because you don't want to have a brand. Let's just say you have again, I'm going to go with a landscaping company.
Yeah.
So let's say you have a landscaping company, but you have a clip art mower, but you want to get into a higher end market. Is that really the look that you're going for? Do you want a cleaner, more sleek look with your brand? Do you want to do the greens that everybody else in landscaping is doing to stand out? How do you want to set yourself apart so the minute that they see your logo or your name flash across, because we have very low attention spans with all of the media that we see, we don't retain information the way we used to because we're just in a very flooded landscape at the moment. So how do you want to stand out from everybody else? I think that's probably the key. That's what a successful brand is.
I
Somebody
mean, like
who's
a
recognized.
lot of people, and you are correct with it. I think a lot of even celebrities kind of make some small mistakes in the way they brand themselves and how they brand themselves by using different names. Much love go to Gucci and some other fellas out there.
Well, that's their last name.
Yeah,
for most of the
that's they say.
designers. Well,
So
like
it's
no,
like
but
it's
I-
like you use a brand that symbolizes you. For me, I switched Kool-Aid from not being a drink, so it's not Kool-Aid. It's Kool-Aid hashtag Banana Fan Fantastic, so it's totally different. So you want to make sure it's different, it's recognizable, and it could stand out at the same time.
No, but I like what you
It's
said
simple.
when it came to, because you're not even a graphic designer. Like I
Yeah.
know like different colors and things like that because I work in the graphic space or whatever. So I understand. Hey, when it comes to brand, and like to the font, to the color, how you want people to feel, what you want to see visually. But like for you as a marketer saying this, you don't have to be a graphic designer to know this stuff. Like you should know this stuff off the rip. Like having everything detailed. You want to, because that's logo is the first thing people see, and like
They do.
like for instance, like how you brought up red and banking. Red is good. A lot of fast food restaurants use reds and
Reds
yellows.
and
Stop.
yellows.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's like a
Yeah,
stop.
stop,
Stop,
and then
come get
yellow.
something to eat.
Yeah, yellow is like that's why some people kitchen yellow because yellow starts up hunger. So understanding those like itty bitty details and stuff like that goes a whole long way.
It is. And even as you start to, again, I said we'd kind of look at how it is that a lot of the clients would come to my ink to kind of figure some stuff out. The first thing people would say, I want marketing. That's the first thing. Hey, I want marketing. How much does this cost?
Okay.
Right? That's the first. And then we have to kind of get into the process. Is what do you mean? What kind of marketing do you need? And then we start going and asking questions. It could be the brand. It could be that the brand needs some attention. It could be that you don't even have a brand yet. We've had clients that don't have this, and this is kind of straying a little bit away from the topic, but we've had clients that didn't even have a business plan. So you sell
but that's important.
It is important.
Yeah.
And because of the years of experience that we have, we can kind of provide a catch-all for that as well. So it is even down to how do you price your product? What are you intending to make? How much did you plan on? Well, if you don't have a budget, you probably don't have a marketing budget. But, how are you going to brand if you don't even have the branding budget either?
Yeah.
So, it's a process.
I mean, I think everybody, like how I start off with like anything I create is I always start off with like a business plan, knowing the target audience and, understanding the different scopes and stuff like that. That's going to be like, what's this going to cost? What's that going to cost? What I need to do to expand the brand? What's the market like? Even when you look at target market, you look at your competitive market too. So it's like, okay, if X amount of number of companies are doing X service or whatever, do I want to do the same service or do it in a different way? Because it's like you don't want to oversaturate something and then you can't really, now you competing versus if on the left it's super oversaturated, but on the right it's clear. Why not go right and be like, all right, boom.
Or study your competitors.
Yeah.
Study your competitors, and that's a part of the branding aspect as well. Study your competitors and find out exactly what it is that they're doing so that maybe you can offer a different element into the market that would start to build your brand presence and your brand identity. So, but again, you do have people that they have a great idea. They really want to get into being an entrepreneur or marketing for themselves. And there's a process that needs to even happen before that, which some people don't realize. Like you say, you would have a business plan.
Yeah, because that's what I did.
Not everybody does.
I don't think most people I think especially in our society, most people don't even understand what a business plan even is. So that's why when, let's say, election time come around and you want to ask certain MPs.
I know it was coming. Something was coming. I was just waiting on it. I was just waiting on it.
No, but like you want to ask certain MPs for
Yeah.
X amount of dollars, right? And they ask you, let's say they ask you, okay, what's your plan? It always stops right there because people don't be like, well, I just want you, I have this plan, but it's like, you got to show me how you a breakdown.
You only
you know.
$100,000 for my business.
Yeah.
Could you possibly loan, give,
Yeah.
endorse me for
But
the
then
business?
it's like you don't have no
okay, give me
plan.
a business plan and come back to my office.
Never
Well,
come
my
back.
plans in the first year is to make $1 million. It's like, that's not the plan. Like,
Yeah.
what's your...
So like you have to,
Yeah.
like people have to understand, having things in concrete, like any idea, because you want to do the research, you want to test, and you even want to do it in phases too, like test the market. See, okay, that's how it is. All right, come back, go to the back to the drawing board, and then
And, let me tell you again, obviously, the business plan is important to determine the viability of your business, especially in, your market. But that business plan can help and shape your brand as well because you know exactly what you're going after. You know who your targets are. You know the spaces that you need to be in. You can start to develop, again, your brand identity from those business plans. Because when we get deeper into what's your brand tone, what's your brand personality,
the message.
the messaging that you want from your brand, all of that plays into what it is that you need to accomplish from your business plan. So hand in hand, really, it's just
So
one
how-
more piece of the puzzle.
So after I have my business plan and know
Or you
my-
could come to us and we'll still help you with that.
okay,
I mean, once again, like, you have any, like, contact, Instagram, that's one more time, just tell it to that person right there we're watching. That's it, so they can hear you.
Hi,
So
guys.
they will know that there is help here in the Bahamas, the people trying to help people to work on their business plan, on their identity, to move forward, to show them how they could possibly make it in this whole marketing world.
All right. Well, first you can look us up and see for yourself. We are www.myinc242, Inc with a K, myinc with a K, 242.com. You can look us up on Facebook, My Inc, and you can look us up on Instagram as well.
Justin, where else can she look us up?
on Erryting Kool. On what network?
The Original People Network. Bomb, don't you do it. And do not forget, you can find us on 1-800-Kool-Aid. Bomb.
Everywhere. And then, hold on, what's this podcast brought to you by?
TJT.
Well, actually, it's TJT and Chosen Few. But we're
Yeah.
going to put those other,
So
tag.
we're TJT and the Chosen Fruit.
we're going to put everything
Just in there.
below.
All the plugs.
Yeah, so we
Follow
need
everything.
all you guys to follow. Like Rodney Monk could say, we the people them choice. The people them.
All right. So after you get a business plan and you understand the market, what makes a brand successful?
I think there's a couple of different components. Being recognized in your marketplace, I think, is one of the biggest success factors that you can look at. People now know what you do. They understand who you are. They know what you offer. I think that from your brand should be the main goal.
So they should know what you offer.
They should, yeah. So they should know exactly.
So
your
give us an
reach.
example of that.
Yeah, like
All right.
Yeah.
So I like favorite brands. So you tell me, what are your favorite brands? Besides Kool-Aid.
one of my favorite brands. One of my favorite brands. Oh, let's pick them up. Nassau Rock. Nassau Rock is a brand that's building right now.
Yeah.
Me and Justin both.
Yeah, we got casted.
We got casted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for the show, that's all we can say. You
Yeah.
gotta stay tuned.
Okay.
We have to say to it. So with them, I like how they came out and did something unique, something that everybody can relate to, and something that's informatively from the Bahamas going internationally. So it's like when I move into the U.S., hey guys, how are you doing? I won't go there like that. I'll actually go to the USA and, but when mother sick, Jed, I'd go. With them understanding us moving forward. Because
Sounds
like in
like a-
movies and
Yeah.
in movies and much acting career of most behemoths, we kind of lost our sense of identity. So, I mean, when marketing yourself, you always probably want to keep your identity because your identity makes you different from other people. Not everyone is the same, you know?
Okay.
Okay.
That's a very ambiguous brand.
Okay, but let's say okay, let's take for instance a Nike or a Gucci. What you think makes like particularly those like they are two clothing brands, but they cater to two different audiences.
They do. And, for me, it's just that Nike tick.
Okay.
Once you see that Nike tick, you don't even need to see their name. You just know that that's Nike.
Man, but
That is.
I mean,
that
I
is
just like
excellent
it.
branding.
It's simple. Everything that's simple.
It is.
Could you imagine this? When your teacher actually tick your paper and she say you are correct, like you start thinking about Nike. Like you just said, I need Jordans today. I just need Jordans. I just need Nikes or some TNs or something. Like you want, when you see that tick, the tick isn't so like extravagant. It isn't like the word Gucci. You understand? But it is like Gucci. You
No, but like
But even
Gucci-
with Gucci
Yeah.
is a symbol.
It's a
Yeah,
symbol,
It's
it's a
a
name.
symbol that you
It's
can
a simple
identify with
as you
it.
can identify.
They have built their brand so well over the years.
Yeah.
They don't even need to have anything under it. They
Under
don't have
it.
to have their
Like,
name
they
under
have a
it. They don't
certain
have
look.
to have a slogan.
Yeah.
You just see it and
Yeah.
then you already immediately identify with what
Yeah.
that brand is. So when we were talking about successes and being well known for your brand and your product, that is one of those elements.
I like that.
Alexa did a really great job. I think it was last year with the Super Bowl.
Okay.
A lot of people really didn't understand what the service was, how it was to be used, and then they used a lot of, and this is, I guess, more brand storytelling and product storytelling with the brands. They basically used a lot of celebrities to kind of show what the product did. So with products being new and kind of coming out or just being built over time, there's processes to what you want your end goal to be.
Okay.
So when somebody just hollers out Alexa, your mind immediately should go
Or
into
Siri.
or Siri. Yeah,
Yeah.
Siri. Well, see, Apple does a great job as well.
Yeah,
I think
Siri.
they have a cult following. Excuse me, Apple fans.
So they have a what?
Cult following.
Yeah, a
Apple
cult
on everything.
following. Wow, this is powerful. Again, Rodney Monk, I love you.
But yeah, on that, we about to take a short break. We're gonna come back on the next side with the guru. The marketing guru, Selina, about to give us some tips on how to, make our brands better. As well as, we'll be about to dive in some other conversation around branding, marketing, and I guess advertising and all that good stuff. But we're going to see you on the next side of Erryting Kool. Hi, this is Lord Jaylin Willard, your favorite Zaddy from Erryting Kool. And this episode is sponsored by nobody. Now, if you would like to sponsor an episode of Erryting Kool, feel free to email us at theoriginalpeople@gmail.com, or you can slide in our DMs on Instagram at The Original People Network or on Facebook, The Original People Network. Now back to your scheduled programming. It's getting more cooler.
Yeah, that's bring out spirits.
Oh man. But yeah, so we're back. That was a good break. We also, I always like we need to start recording all our breaks.
You sure?
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
cause
No, because
Those
last
stories
night.
might affect your brand. I'm just saying.
no.
No.
The last what minute that was when we taped with Aubrey then?
3 weeks ago?
Like a month ago.
A month ago.
Yeah, and like our conversation during the breaks would be vastly
Yeah,
different.
it was fascinating. Though. It was fascinating. Aubrey, you know we love you, yeah?
Shout out to Aubrey.
Yeah, Aubrey.
All right, so we're back. So we're gonna dive in just right off the back. So
With the scuba tank and everything.
exactly, Brandon. So what's the biggest mistake someone can make with their brand?
Honestly, I think it's not knowing what your brand is. Like, we keep going back to how it is you start to build it and then going away from the brand. So if you haven't identified your brand voice and how it is that you talk to your audience, then you could get kind of carried away and going in a different direction that would alienate the audience that you wanted to capture, or not even understanding the audience that you wanted to capture and then ending up with a different type of target altogether. So I really think that the biggest branding mistake is not paying attention to the brand and not policing your brand. So let's just say your color is blue and yellow. This is just an example. And you start using greens and purples and just not consistently putting your brand out there in the way that you've intended, you've now kind of diversified into such a way that you're no longer distinctive. So let's say Nike started to use a star on their tick. Sometimes they put a star on, sometimes they didn't. So how would you know really which is the real Nike? Or if Gucci did something with their G's and they decided to put a J in there every once in a while, how do I know then that is authentically a Gucci item?
That's true.
So to me, those are the biggest things. Again, I've seen on social media brands that don't have their tone of voice that match what it is that they say their brand is. So I've seen, and this may be like a little going into your customer service issues, social media has given us a platform as consumers to speak to the people that we are purchasing things from. So let's just say your brand is very friendly, you believe in customer service, but then a customer gives a complaint on Facebook and the first thing you do is clap back to that customer. Not only is it terrible customer service, but it doesn't represent your brand or what you want other people to see as your brand and how it is that you speak to that customer.
That's like,
Or Kool-Aid, we spoke again about your brand being more family oriented. But let's just say you made a post or you had an advertisement where you used profanity. It would not represent who your brand is or who you or your brand is you. And so therefore it kind of throws off that whole messaging and everything that you've built before.
Sorry, guys. I mean, I listen to what she said, but hey, the kids in the background, I want to go jump in the pool with them too. I mean, like, what? I ain't sitting down here like, I'm sitting here and I'm not in the pool. Y'all see that behind us? It's a beautiful Bahamas, and I want y'all to know that the entire Bahamas is not destroyed. We're still good, okay? Abaco and Freeport, we are out here to help you. Justin, we did a video with Lil Switch, yay! Yeah, we did a video with him. So the whole Bahamas is not destroyed, but I really want to destroy myself by jumping in this pool right now. I don't know how to look with my marketing look right now.
I think as long as it's well done.
I understand.
Don't take off everything and jump.
I understand. You say it's like me going to McDonald's. The McDonald's brand is like to put a smile on. And when they go to McDonald's and they look at me and suck a teeth and say, "What do you want?" I'd be like, okay, this is not what y'all putting in the advertisements, okay? I need to see your manager. So I understand.
That even brings us back to your brand ambassador. So if you get your company to the point where you have persons that actually are out there representing your brand, do they even know what the brand is? So that's another, maybe not one of the biggest mistakes, but that's another
Having
mistake.
the wrong brand ambassador?
Well, that too is very bad.
What's his name? That's like Dr. Swaby eating a hot dog sandwich right now by the beach.
Are you talking about Dr. Sebi? Yeah, Dr. Sebi, he's passed away.
Rest in peace, Dr. Sebi. But
okay.
like that's like seeing him, like he knows.
Like he's an alkaline.
And then one day you see him walking down the beach. Sorry for using him like that, but he eat a hot dog sandwich. And people be like, "Oh no, I can't believe this! Oh my god!" And then as quick as your brand builds, you want to be very careful because as quick as it builds, the quicker it could be. Shut down really quick. Yeah.
But let's just say, and I'm going to use you again as an example because we were talking about your brand a lot.
Why am I the only brand here right now?
Rihanna brand.
Okay, Rihanna brand.
Let's just say, okay, you've grown to the point now where you have a booking agent that goes and speaks to clients on your behalf, and you have that person in your shirt with your brand and everything on it, and that person starts to act very inappropriately. She may not be deemed as a brand ambassador, but because she's wearing and representing your brand, she still is a brand ambassador. It goes back to what you were saying about the customer service. So even in that sense, but does your employee know what your brand represents? A lot of times we bring people into companies and we haven't gone over the branding aspects or the brand with employees to even let them know what is expected of them.
Interesting. So you telling me that all the fast food restaurants haven't gone over the branding?
I did not tell you. that was not the words that came out of my mouth.
I mean, it could be so where the company actually did went over all the SOPs, standard operation procedures, with the employee, but it's up to the employee to actually say, "I'm going to sit down and read the SOP." You understand? Like that's like neglected.
Yeah.
And okay, I heard that must be 6 months ago. And it's probably not reintroduced because with your brand changing and growing, there are some things that should be reintroduced back once more again. So
most definitely.
you'll always have to go back on Why did I start this brand? What did I intend this brand to do? And you have to stick with that instead of, okay, 1 minute you're a family-orientated guy, and next minute you on the back of your yacht TikToking or, hot walking, that kind of stuff. You understand? Like, okay, that ain't the Kool-Aid we know. You understand?
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
I just wish.
You envision what?
No, I just thought about that. But no, but that's true. But like, no. No, but I think, man, you can't tell me these people, they tell them whenever you go buy your food, give the customer attitude, bro.
What do you mean? They tell them that? No. I mean, I've worked in certain fast food brands, right? No, that's not what you will tell the employee.
Mm-hmm.
You do go through your training, and a lot of good places have reoccurring training, like you were saying. So every 6 months, every 3 months, you have to continuously go over these guidelines for how to represent the brand, how to be a great customer service provider. But we have to realize too, in these, like you use in fast food is an industry that has a really high turnover.
Should it be personal then?
Really, really high turnover. So they have to do a lot of training.
So for me, I think it should be personal, like personable. Like you have to be very personable with your brand.
It depends on your brand. You might be a security company. You might not want to be personable.
Yeah, probably would, of course, with my security company, because I want to know who ran my property and who was watching who and when. So I want to be personable with them.
Well, you might not, again, but you don't want a cuddly, cute-looking security guard who is supposed to be there to enforce.
See, that's why I can get personal, because I ain't no chihuahua kind of security. I want that goat and that 3 chicken to be my security.
So, all right. So, I mean, I was thinking about something else, but I ain't getting that. So, with the advent of social media, like, what's your advice on using social media platforms to, like, promote your brands and stuff like that?
I think a lot of companies are starting to get it. Social media is just that. It's social. You don't want to talk at your clients. You want to engage with your clients and your prospective audiences. You don't want to say, hey, buy this product now, $9.99. That's what an advertisement typically will do when you have something that's in a limited amount of space or has a limited amount of bandwidth. But with social media, you want to maybe talk about the product. Well, what do you think about this product? Did you know? So I think the social aspect of social media is lost a lot of times when brands come into that space.
Sometimes, to me, I don't think, like how you say, it's more interactive. Sometimes I don't even think it needs words. Just by doing this, tastes so good. I think that
it really depends on your product.
We're talking about nachos, like you lick your fingers and. Oh, tell me one person who lick their fingers doing nachos. Put it in the comment down below.
It's true though, but you do have a lot as well. You have a lot of visuals that you can use with social media, so you might not even need a lot of messaging. I think the algorithms now are designed so that even when you're doing post boosts, you do not have a lot of text. So using interesting graphics and then understanding the demographics of the social media platforms that you're using as well is important. So, Instagram typically tends to have a good range nowadays. But Snapchat, definitely, we know that's the younger market. Facebook, again, is a more older market, and you might miss out some of that the youngsters on Facebook. So even designing your messaging for the group that it is you're trying to reach and knowing where they are is especially important.
So what about people? Because we've been talking a lot about companies that have brands, but what about people's like personal brands?
Personal brands?
Yeah.
Well, give me an example.
So say for instance,
Kool-Aid. Just kidding.
I was gonna use myself.
Y'all notice I look at y'all just now, right? Oh, you feel it, right? Hey, just look at the
right. So let's say for instance, okay. Let's just use Kool-Aid as a social media.
Talk about you now.
Okay, we can talk about me, Laura, Jaylin Willard, your favorite Zad. So let's say, for instance,
this is harassment on the job. This is harassment, okay?
Let's say, for instance, let's say my brand is constitute. I'm a creative, so it's like massive. But I want to, let's say, build more brand awareness. Like, how would I successfully go about that? Because it's like, okay, I know who's my target audience. I know what's the principles on my brand, but I am probably having trouble with expanding it and getting other people to know about it.
Mm-hmm.
So what's like the first steps someone would take? And then to how should people view a personal brand different from a company brand, or it should all be the same?
I think that there are fundamental differences between a company brand and a personal brand, but I think the principles remain the same, if that makes any sense.
Okay.
Yeah.
So for you, your personal brand may be identified more with who you are, your face, people knowing your face, the way that you dress. If you're a creative, how is it that you're walking outside of your home every day?
Straight up
When you
behemoth.
go into the...
I telling you with this on 3 for $5. You want to see him with this big Bahama shirt on? Yeah, he said he wants y'all to know he from the Bahamas. Y'all look at that mileage. Look at this shirt.
No, but-
Wear that boy. Yeah, he said.
Again, if that's a part of your brand, if that's a part of your personal brand and your personal brand image, then fine. But like even just, okay, I running into the gas station really, really quickly. What should I put on in order to make sure that I don't run into, let's say, a potential client, right? So that type of stuff, I think you can look out for your personal brand. In terms of exposure, again, creative in what format? Are you, what are you doing to kind of attract that market? So even though you know who your market is, let's say you create in terms of visual art, are you putting a lot of your pieces out there? Are you looking toward how it is that you can get them displayed in certain areas? Are there certain places that your target market would go that you can actually put up a display of your visual? Can you use social media as a sounding board to get in just some reactions to your work so that people start to share them? What do you think about this? I mean, it really just, I think every company, every client is different. It just is a matter of doing the research and finding out exactly what that company or that person wants to do with their brand and then finding ways of developing that further.
Okay. So with the, what am I going to say? I ain't trying to remember what to say. So, but she just, this information is so vital.
I mean, like, I envisioning myself, like, while she's saying it, like, I going out there and guys, are you ready? Yeah, woo!
Because I just started thinking, I'm like,
I'm glad because I can see the mind starting to
Like,
work, and I'm
like-
really happy that we could do that today.
man, Selena, you probably need to do a workshop or something. Because I think people might,
Yeah.
really need this information. Because, like, especially with, like, people understanding, I mean, I understand social media and the space because, I
Ooh,
work in
yeah,
the
do
space.
like a networking type kind of, marketing things for upcoming people. And then,
like tips to new entrepreneurs. Because a lot of people have social media, but they don't understand how to really use it. Like understanding like times to post on social media, what to post, how to stir up certain engagement. Okay, you might see a person got 10,000 followers, 16,000 followers, but then they only have certain amount of likes, certain amount of comments. So, like, what's the engagement ratios and stuff like that? Like,
That's true.
I take, for instance, like I use, you can follow us also on the Jungle Trademark page. Like that page, I say, okay, that has a small following, but the engagement is high. Like, I get interaction from not only people in the country, but people outside the country based on the type of content we put up, because it's mainly like geared toward like Bahamian culture. So like Jungle Carnival.
Carnival,
Carnival,
Canoe.
Like rake and scrape type thing. So it's like, people comment and, I probably might comment on different things where I'd be like, TJT certified.
Who's calling us?
No, that's a lot.
TJT calling me.
So like, I might put like, okay, let's say I see a post and I'd be like, I see a cool way to get your brand is like, creating your own hashtag. So I'd be like, hashtag TJT certified. And I put that on the certain post with like flame emoji, Bahamian flag, palm tree, boom. So like, you can even go follow that hashtag and people be like, oh, they actually commented on my thing. And what's TJT certified? And they click on the page and it's all this whole content curated towards like this certain element or whatever. And actually, going off of that, how important is curation of your brand on social media?
Go a little deeper for me.
So
What you
okay,
mean.
so like okay, for our TJT page, even though that's a branding and talent agency,
Mm-hmm.
the highlight of it is behavior and culture. So all you would see on the page is
Cultural stuff.
cultural stuff, junk and new stuff.
Building
Like you
the
know,
costumes.
we doing photo shoots on the beach or in
Mm-hmm.
jungle costumes. So everything is related to what the brand, the core elements of the brand.
Mm-hmm.
So what I always tell my friends is like when you like okay, I started managing like multiple like social media accounts, but every social media account has its own like brand DNA,
Mm-hmm.
even to where what the page follows. So I would say, okay, this page, okay, like let's say my media production page has everything film and video and da 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 da. This page has everything culture. The Original People Network got everything podcast related.
Mm-hmm.
So like you know, I think people they post, but it's not really curated to where it's like, okay, I understand my audience. Let's build around like all the content around that.
I think what you're asking is how does it go back to the targeting?
Yeah, but how important is targeting,
Mm-hmm.
but also understand the targeting,
So building your
curating
content?
Yeah,
Planning around your social media contact is of key importance. Okay? Any companies or clients that I work with that want to look at how it is that they use their social media spaces, we come up with calendars. We have a progression, I guess you can say, for where it is that we want to end up with our social media. So the calendars and planning your content, that makes you that knows it. We have 10 beach pictures today.
okay.
And we've posted 10 beach pictures, and it's not just about the culture, right? Because there's other elements of the culture. What else do we want to kind of focus on in terms of Bahamian culture? Do we want to get people into this now mix? Is that something that we need to focus on? So for me, it is just planning that out and making sure that you have an overall view of what it is that's going to happen. Looking at the type of content that would get maybe the most interactions and how you could maybe, I don't want to say segue, but maybe evolve on that. So if it is the beaches, like start putting some Bahamians on the beaches with T-shirts and shorts. You know how we like to go to the beach because that is our culture. You know what I mean? It's different. But again, you have to kind of know where it is that you want to go.
So, what are tips that like you know? Let's say 5 tips.
I
that
love
you,
the Bahamas, man. So I mean, I sorry for swearing. I love the Bahamas, okay? I love the Bahamas. I just, look at this. Y'all just look at this. Y'all want to behave. Put it in the comment and then hashtag 242 if y'all want to be up. I mean, this is an awesome Sunday evening. Nice background, nice day.
Yeah.
All we need is some Kool-Aid to go drinking on the Saturday. Yeah, we be doing great. Yeah,
I did offer you some juice, and you tell me
See
no.
what I said? No, see, I was trying to market Kool-Aid just now. I was marketing Kool-Aid just now. Bam, bam, okay. Good you did. Woo, hip, hip, hooray.
But yeah, like 5 tips that.
Say 5. Gee, depends.
Okay,
Right.
All right, tips on what exactly? Sorry, because I keep cutting you off.
tips on like quick tips. How to build a brand? Like just basically taking your brand from 0 to 100.
Again, I would just get back to the drawing board and understand for yourself what your brand is.
Number 1, understand for yourself.
What your brand is.
Uh-huh.
Understand what it is that you want your brand to accomplish. We've had a client who wanted, again, like that Nike symbol, who wanted to be recognized for just the symbolism in his brand. How then do you now take that brand journey to make sure that happens as you start to do your advertising? Understanding who your brand targets, maybe doing some research as well into the type of audiences, how they relate to certain images, to certain colors, to certain fonts. Those are things you can also do. And remember, again, to always be consistent. Don't have a brand image and then have a brand tone that does not represent that. Don't police your brand. Make sure the people who are representing your brand understand what your brand is.
Justin.
and then I guess know how to use your brand, because we were talking about social media as well. Know how to build and tell your brand story, which is something that we really didn't get into today. But
I mean, we could touch on that a little bit.
your brand story.
Yeah.
So again, we talked about a little bit about the Alexa, but what are some of those brands where we start to understand what they do based on their story? There are a couple of good ones really out there. So, can you think of any?
Story as in terms of what their history.
Okay, so
Jarvis?
well, it kind of personalizes what the brand is. So, like Land Rover did one. I don't think it hit this market. Let's talk about Dave.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right,
Dave
let's talk about
Wendy's.
Dave from Wendy's.
Yeah.
Dave is great at building. Well, he had a brand that it was great at building the story of how it is that he founded that. He had certain campaigns based around that, and his daughter Wendy. They told stories around their brand to kind of bring it home. The other thing that we really didn't talk about, your brand attributes as well. You know what I mean? So what are the things that you want your brand to be known for? Your brand vision, your brand mission, those sorts of things we didn't really touch on, but they're also very important. So, I mean there's a lot.
Yeah, at the end of the day, some people don't want to. I mean, it depends on what your brand is. It's always good to get endorsed or have endorsements. So, to keep it as probably clean, or less, like she said, keep it targeted towards that crowd so you won't get lost in the midst. You understand? So, you want to be owning the club and then it turns into a church, You want to keep it moving as a church or keep it moving as a club. You understand? So keep it banging. You want to always keep it new, keep it refreshing, keep it wow. Every time they call this person name, it's recognized. It's what word do they use when it's known all around the world? A household name. Yeah.
Well, it depends if that's what you want your brand to be.
I mean, most people in nowadays they want to be like more like Michael Jordan type kind of branding, more like the Yeezy with Kanye West type kind of branding, like getting themselves into things and branching off for themselves, doing stuff for themselves. But I mean, it's obvious you have to do it under major company brands, but you can also build it up and do it by yourself too.
Well, you're talking more about your personal
personal
brands.
yeah, personal brand.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah.
I can understand that.
Is there any last tip?
Get on a podcast with these guys.
Make sure I there, okay? Because if you're there with this Spaniard named Justin, it can be Trapsy. Okay? That's another Bahamian word for y'all. Trapsy! Say Trapsy. Say Trapsy, hey man. All y'all say Trapsy. Me one more time, say Trapsy. Hey, I can feel it. No, they were straight fingers. Yeah, so the last but not least, hashtag @ and then use brands that would more or even hashtags would actually promotes what you're talking about. So if I do a commercial about coming to the Bahamas, which I love doing, what I telling you, 700 Islands and Keys of Wonder. But to bring it closer, you understand, I want a hashtag best vacation. Or hashtag
Islands or Caribbean, because that's what
Islands of Caribbean. Like you want to use not only your own, you want to use hashtags that actually have a major following. So let's just say if you Instagram hashtag and hashtag B, you'll see 1 billion views suggest B, or 1 million views suggest B being, text by mistake probably. But yeah, I would want to use something that generates what I try and push out there. And thank you for DJ Jazzy Jeff for liking the page. And I'm helping up with the brothers in the future,
Yeah. So, well, before we close up, I think you really need to do that seminar.
Yeah.
She had me thinking so much. I wasn't giving much eye contact or anything because I was like, yo, wait, I need to do that? Nah, I got to do this now. So, I learned something,
If you are interested in a seminar or some type of workshop, then what you could do is you could like this video and then just leave a comment for us at the bottom of it so that we could gauge the interest and do some product research to see if it's something that the audience really wants.
So for many of y'all who always come to Kool-Aid and ask me how could I get on the podcast,
get on, period.
Get on, period. Oh, yes. And we still have you guys Miss Bahamas Universe ladies.
Oh yeah,
all you
we
guys.
still need y'all to
Yeah,
come
we
report.
still have you guys. Yeah,
November, you see?
we're talking about marketing now. So, any new ideas you guys got, come bring it so you can actually market yourself too as well. Please, 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 let's check out Mrs.
Selina's.
Selena's.
And that is my
natural.
And that is my ink with a K.
Okay, my ink with a K. All right, so final words, Miss Selina, Dennis. Final words?
My final words?
Yeah.
I forget what I say just now. What the word is? The Bohemian word.
Jalopy.
Oh.
Yeah, Tropsy. Y'all watch out for
Jalopy,
Tropsy, Justin, okay? Because it's a Tropsy day. And I tired of these Tropsy people because they Tropsy and Jalopy and all these other different things. They can't. I try and remember how I used to do Jalopy when I was in school. Oh, I remember. Oh, I can't say that. Justin, you say it.
Selena?
Well, I just want to say thank you guys. It's been awesome just kind of chilling here by the pool and just having this conversation. It's been really great.
That's good. That's good.
Having people that kind of understand the concept and being able to kind of share.
I
a
feel
little
like we
bit
need to
more.
have you for a part 2.
Yeah.
Well, maybe then we could talk about my story, which is another My Ink product.
Oh.
That might actually, I scared for Kool-Aid on that one, but
So tell me how the story goes. Y'all understand, right? It just gets
Well,
spicy.
it is
And I
a
ain't talking
product.
KFC.
It is a product that My Ink has launched, and it basically is an affordable ghostwriting service that will allow persons to record their stories for personal use for generations to come. I think you have a lot of stories that, you probably could be my book, like really, from what we were talking about before.
Oh,
But it basically, it's
He was in your
basically like
last
that.
Justin Fang out. Yeah.
But yeah, but we could talk a little bit more marketing. We could talk about my story, the importance of capturing our memories for our kids and cousins and sharing all those stories that get lost. But yeah.
So, my story.
Right. So as I was saying, like my story is, again, it's like a ghostwriting service. Ghostwriting basically means that you have someone, me for instance, who goes ahead and drafts your story, puts it down for your own readers, your own audience, in your words, and creates this piece for you. Now, the beauty of this is, and again, everything has a story behind it, including my story. We were kind of sitting around talking with some friends, and there were so many family stories that have been kind of forgotten. People going, oh my goodness, yes, my Grammy did this, or my cousin did that. Remember that time? But because we don't tell stories so much as we used to in the Bahamas, we thought, you know what, why don't we have a service for persons that don't want to sit down and take the time to write it out, or may not feel very comfortable with their writing skills, for them to be able to come to us. We give you a little bit of an interview, we talk about it, then we give you a first draft, and we put it into an ebook for you. So that ebook then you can take now to your kids. So we have one, a promotional one that we do have on the My Ink site, and that is something that somebody wanted to pass on to their kids, even though they don't have them yet.
Okay.
They wanted to be able to read stories of themselves to their kids for bedtime. And then they wanted their kids to be able to read that to their kids for the bedtime, so we can kind of understand a little bit more about who this person
like a
is.
Capsule kind of.
Yeah.
It is. It's like a
situation.
time capsule.
Yeah.
It's like you creating this element for future generations. And a lot of the stories that are, sorry, I know you're going to say something, but a lot of the stories that are passed down, they may be coming from somebody else's perspective. You ever play Chinese telephone?
Yeah.
So by the time the story actually gets to you, third generation, it probably isn't exactly how that person was feeling or what they were going through in the first place. So it gets kind of watered down and tailored to whoever's telling it. This way, your story stays in its complete form as it is passed down now from generation to generation.
Dope. And where I can find this product?
You can actually go onto My Ink's page.
My Ink's page.
My Ink's
So that
page.
is the Facebook or the Instagram page, or you can go on to www.myink242.com and click on the My Story tab, and you'll get all of that information.
So it's just like raw. It's a raw interviewing or sound.
Basically, a
recording.
time capsule
Time-
story so that you can't
like
edit it.
just from you. You can't edit it.
You can't.
Like, if
You
y'all really
can.
want to know what's happening during that time when I was smiling on camera, well, off camera, this was actually working on. This was
Yeah.
actually moving with, I think that's kind of cool.
Well, even like when you think about what happened with Dorian and all of those survivor stories, that let's say the last big hurricane to hit us was when in the 30s that had this
That destructive, yeah, in
this
Albuquerque
level
in
of-
1932.
in 1932, but we don't have anything from those persons that went to this through that storm to even say how they
Like
were
a
coping
personal account,
afterwards
yeah.
or personal accounts from that. Now, when you say you can't edit it, no, the person that you send it to can't edit it. But when you get your first drafts back from us, you will be able to edit that into whatever it is that you want it to be.
Just how you could say Kool-Aid is a dog lover.
I guess.
Come on, sea lion. dogs,
He's taking
animals.
over our bingo. Hey, bingo, you on camera now.
So my story,
Animals, no good spirits. I'm just letting you all know.
so my story from my ink.
Mm-hmm.
Check out Selina Archer
Thank you.
for the product. I mean, probably slide this in, the commercial, But yeah, this is Erryting Kool, the extended version. I don't know what else we want to add. I mean, just go follow the pages, but like, and then
Yeah, and
expect Selena to come on Erryting Kool 2020. Bigger thing. Hopefully, we get our studio by then, so she ain't have to be sweating and whatnot.
Man, listen, there's a pool out here. I don't know if you.
And then we gonna have a makeup artist. Because I asked her, "You want a makeup artist?" She's like, she
I'm a
ain't
very
need all that.
simple, no fuss kind of girl.
Kool-Aid said,
You have a photographer.
yeah, we got a makeup artist too.
And we got a makeup artist too. Yeah, we got.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
but Kool-Aid said, my lady, your beauty reigns so deep. You don't
Oh,
need no
Lord.
makeup.
I did say that. Okay, on the podcast. Now, give me 10 likes when you're at a spot. Ain't she a beauty? Give me 100. 3,000.
No, because then if we don't get
YouTube will go to 2 billion now.
3,000 likes,
YouTube going 2 billion now. So on YouTube, 2 billion. On Instagram, if you watch this on Instagram, I want to see.
A million.
Huh?
800 million.
800 million. 800 million. I know I get that right. But we got 800 million, right? On Snapchat, yeah. So Snapchat.
What's up
next
status?
time. Yeah. WhatsApp status. Yeah. WhatsApp status. We want to see this viral.
Viral. So,
Most times they get viral, but
they're my story.
yeah.
Check it out.
Thank you.
Because she said I'm going next. Like, boy, this can be long. I don't think you're on the head of it.
No, I
yeah.
mean, because I'm sure you have like stories. Because we were talking about some of the neighborhoods and stuff you grew up in and how
Yeah.
that kind of affected who you are today. All of those things
Like
are things
humble
that you could
beginning,
kind of,
humble beginning.
Yeah, humble
It's
beginning.
still humble, still humble.
And then
I
you
grew
can
up
put that
toting
into
water
that.
and stuff like that. Came from D.W. Davis, C.I. Gibson, R.M. Bailey. I've been to GHS, all this in 1 year, right? Like in grade 10, right? Yeah, so I have a good,
So-
humble beginning, very humble.
But see, when you make it big,
Wild.
like who's gonna know this? When your
Yeah,
kids are living up in Beverly Hills in a mansion.
When I make it big, you don't know it. Ready, big man.
my humblest apologies. But your kids,
Yeah.
when they're living that very, very privileged lifestyle, and you say,
Yeah.
listen, y'all don't know how hard it took for me to build this. Then you say, come here, let me whip out this and read this to you. Or take that and read that, because you know something?
Mm-hmm.
These are the principles that we came from. This is the people
You know
that
what
we
else
came
they
from.
can do? Just watch Erryting Kool.
Yeah, just watch it. Well, watch Erryting
trying to
Kool.
kill my vibe.
Erryting Kool will give you like the basis of when I first got the
And
idea.
then when you want them in depth
You know?
details, you
Yeah.
just go to my story from my ink. See what they saying?
And I think that should happen more often. And I
Yeah.
really I appreciate that because one of my idols, he passed away. It's a Chippy Chipman.
Yeah.
And
Rest in peace, Chippy.
Justin, he's everything to me. And
Yeah.
the whole his family should know too. That he meant everything to me. Nita, when she was on the deck playing the steel pan, she'd come over, his adopted daughter, and she'd be like, "Boy, the kind of passion you have for culture is like, I would want to see him have backstories. I mean, we have a lot of backstories on Chippy, but for him
Not from-
saying it for himself,
Yeah, I
Like,
mean, I guess
yeah.
because a lot of the legends are passing away because you got to make room for the new legends. See, they saying?
Yeah, they have
No?
the pass away, but you want to find out probably some of the stuff he been
Yeah,
through and
that's
he
why
did
this
and
this service is very
You understand?
important.
So-
You get an audio
think about it.
biography.
You understand? We know
You know?
Chippy is a legend, but how did he become a legend? Why is he Sir Chippy Chipman and not just Chippy? How we got
Knighted by the
knighted by the Queen from the Bahamas? Come on now, man, that's something great. something I want to do next too. Yeah.
And I'm going to say that even though it is extremely important for us to know where our community leaders are coming from, even within families, we have family leaders and people that have made it. They've had their own individual successes. And some people kind of don't understand, even within their family, like there's things that my grandmother may have done where I might not have understood it when I had that story passed down to me. But once I've kind of read her own version of why it is that she made certain decisions, that gives me a new perspective on what it is that she had to work with, especially at the time, given circumstances, et cetera, et cetera. It helps me to build a different version and a view of what my family is. We say that we lose a lot of our culture as Bahamians. I think we just don't know a lot of our family history. We lose ourselves because we just don't know what our great-great-grandmother was thinking about. And this is a way to maybe start that process so that we start capturing who we are as family units, as individuals, and knowing where we came from.
Know where you come from. Know that where you're going.
Where you come from, job.
Know what's close to you and know what's with your ink. Know you got to still be original. But just know everything can still be cool, you know.
Yeah, believe that. You have to put that in there. See? You just put that in there. Your link gets said. He just, that's finesse. That's the thing they call finesse nowadays.
The finesse.
Yeah. What do you mean finesse?
So, what else we want to add? I don't know. I think that's the genesis. But look out for that My Ink workshop, brought to you by Your Mix with a Splash.
I like hosting, but I want to be there probably with my pen and paper and just picking up knowledge on it because, like I say, even for me to being at this point, there's still a lot of things for me to learn. To get to a better point, So yeah, that's awesome.
Well, thanks again.
I can see me on like one of the cruise ships going, Kool-Aid, let's go. Understand? Yeah. Because other brands are out there, and Kool-Aid is interested. Yeah.
Well, we want to thank again Miss Selina Archer for sharing her time on your beautiful Sunday. I know Sunday time is relaxed time, pool time.
This is very relaxing, actually.
Well, actually, let's let y'all know, as you can see, Justin is in swimwear. She's in swimwear, and I'm in swimwear. So, we're about to do happy Sunday.
So, thanks again. This is Erryting Kool. Peace, love. I don't know what else. We need to jazzy up this end. Actually, we're going to just roll the intro. See what they saying? Yeah. Later.
Come on.
Anybody.
The tourists come over to chill on the beach, but they don't come over the hill where we sleep. We got nightmares and they got fantasies. No sanity, it's just insanity. My mommy hoping nothing